think that that next month in June in Holland, like musea are going to reopen, and restaurants are reopen, and cafes are reopening, all with the rule of keeping the 6 feet distance. But in those environments, it's possible to manage a 6 feet distance. But in a club or a venue or a large concert hall, it's just impossible, I think, to keep the 6 feet distance to manage that. So I'm really, really concerned with the whole industry of live music, to be honest.
Right.
And the restart. And I think my opinion is that this will be the last sector that will reopen again. But then it could be too late for many of them, since they will not survive, because it's the financial implications are huge already now, let alone if they have to wait for another 3-6 months, whatever. So I'm very concerned for this.
Yes, we had a lot of venues shutter their doors for good here, just because they relied on that live music. Yeah, but and in Holland there are a lot of local venues are subsidized by the government, so they will maybe manage, but they will probably manage for a while. But the ones that are privately owned, I think they will have a very difficult time. Yes, is your house on fire? What is that? No, it's my neighbor. Okay. No, it's gone. It's a fire truck. Okay, I thought maybe you just... Okay, so you're fine. Okay, Ron's fine, everybody. Okay. Let's do one more track from your album. This one is called Too Late to Surrender, off Ron's album, Rise.
1692 means we got shots fired. 4:15 a.m. Route 91, sounded like an automatic firearm. Copy, code red in. It's in Mandalay Bay. Upstairs, Mandalay Bay, halfway up. I see the shot coming from Mandalay Bay. Halfway up.
My fellow Americans, we are joined together today in sadness, shock, and grief. Last night, a gunman opened fire on a large crowd in Las Vegas, Nevada. It was an act of pure evil.
It was a lead rain, straight and hard, going round and round. Red stains break their hearts. The bodies hit the ground. Desperation running wild. There's fire in the sky. Too many triggers, just one hand, with no reason why. All this obliteration Desperation running wild. There's fire in the sky. Too many triggers, just one hand, with no reason why. All this obliteration is gonna rock the nation. No turning back, it's a crying shame. 'Cause it's too late to surrender. Too many dreams have died. Too late to surrender. It's gonna be a suicide. 'Cause it's too late to surrender. It's gonna be a one-way ride. Too late to surrender. Oh, it's too late to surrender.
We need the air clear for Zebra 20. They have one suspect down inside the room. Zebra 20 has one suspect down inside the room.
Right back here on Darkest Corners of the World, we're speaking with Ron Coolen from Amsterdam about his album Rise. The song we just heard was Too Late to Surrender. Rocking track. It almost feels like it was pulled directly out of the 80s. What do you think, Ron? Tell me about this one.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. You know, I'm a big George Lynch fan and a big Dokken fan. And I think the main riff of this song is really inspired by the typical riffs of George. And yeah, you know, I'm a kid of the 80s. I grew up in that period, and I was young in that period. So my memories are really carved into my DNA of that time. And you know, the MTV period and the hair metal, and it made a huge impression on me when I was young. So yeah, I fully agree. It's a typical hair metal song from the 80s. And I'm glad to hear that people get the 80s feel, because that's really what I wanted the song to have.
Yes, I agree with that, and it has the hooks that it needs, and I think that's huge.
Yeah, and I think this is one, the guitar solo on this one is also a special one. I think since this is played by a very young guy, I think he's 19 years old, a Swedish guy, Johannes Persson. And this is a guy that I discovered on YouTube, so I didn't know the guy before. So somehow I got hold of a video of him, and I recognized although he's so young, he wasn't even born in the 80s, but he's got such an 80s feel in his playing, and so much feel in his guitar style, playing style. I was just completely amazed by this guy, because usually when you go on YouTube, there are thousands of guitarists that can play with 300 miles an hour. And this guy is fast as well, but he's got so much feel. It's incredible. So I was very happy to have him on this song, because I think the match was perfect.
Yeah, great lineup on this one. Are you playing bass on this one?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that bass line is fantastic as well, and it really stood out to me because I'm a bass player myself, so I really enjoyed that.
Thank you. Thanks.
All right, thanks for tuning in and telling a friend and listening to Darkest Corners of the World. That was Ron Coolen. And Ron, where can our listening audience find all of your stuff?
Yeah, they can, for the CD Rise, in CD format or digital format, they can go either to Bandcamp, where my album is for sale, or they can go to my website, which is roncoolen.rocks. And I also have two tracks on digital platforms, which is Big Devil Data and Sin City. They are on Spotify and all the other streaming platforms. And the idea is to bring more songs to streaming platforms and ultimately the whole album during the course of this year.
Fantastic. And we can't wait to hear more from you in the future. As soon as venues start opening, I'm sure we're going to have a lot of great live stuff again. Ron, thanks for being here.
Yeah, you're welcome. It was a pleasure being here.
And we'll see you next time right back here on Darkest Corners of the World.